Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Spread Week 11 edition. I'm Andre Kachaturian. He's Ricky Doyle. Very important piece of the puzzle is missing this week. Mike Cole, who's on vacation in Nashville, Tennessee, but he's here with us. He's kind enough and sober enough to join us. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. It's been all uphill since Sunday. I went to the Packers-Titans game. That was forgettable. But other than that, it's been a delightful time. The best part is that I'm not in the office with you guys, which has been really a delight.
Well, one of the worst parts for me is that you're not in the office because...
Yeah, well, I wish I could say the same, but it's just certainly not the case.
Well, all right.
Well, I don't think I'm going to miss you any more than I am at this very moment because it just brings me closer to Andre. The gap has been closed at this table. Yeah. Usually you were kind of the middleman that would separate us if anything.
If things escalate, we might come to blows,
yeah,
you know?
So this could be a very unpredictable week on the field and in here. So I don't know. Why don't we start with where we stand after last week, which was a pretty terrible week for all of us.
Train wreck of a week.
Yeah.
Mike Cole 5-9, Andre Kachaturian 5-9, Ricky Doyle last place 4-10. But Ricky, I did one game better than you last week. That means we're now tied on top of the standings, and Mike is still inching closer. He's doing a good job coming back from the big hole he dug himself in early on in the season. So.
It's looking like a photo finish,
yeah.
I'd say. Not to get ahead of ourselves, going to take it 1 week at a time, but it's an equal playing field. A lot of parity.
Yes,
when it
a lot
comes
of
to
parity,
league,
and there's a lot of parity in the NFL too. And let's start with we're going to give you some. We're going to discuss the 3 best games of the week, and then we'll give a lock and upset, some props, and then do a little show and tell. Hopefully, Mike Cole will have an object. You're just going to have to take his word for it. I'm sure he'll find something in his hotel room.
Yeah, if there was ever a week for you to just completely bold-faced lie to us, this is the one. You could really say that you're holding a koala bear for all we know. I mean, whatever you want to throw at us. But what do you want to start with, Andre? What's that? Eagles, Seahawks?
Let's do it. Late afternoon action. Yeah, Battle of the Birds.
Battle of the Birds.
Yeah.
The second week in a row.
Yeah,
they took on last week's battle with the Falcons, holding the top rate scoring offense in the NFL to 1 touchdown and 303 yards. Impressive win for the Eagles. Do they keep it rolling this week?
Yeah, I think they will keep it rolling this week. I think Russell Wilson is back. The last 2 games, he's had 5 touchdowns, no picks.
So you don't think the Eagles are going to keep it rolling?
Oh, I thought the Seahawks will keep it rolling because they rolled last week. Sorry, I misheard you. Sorry. I think the Seahawks will keep it rolling this week. Russell Wilson, I think, is back. 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. No picks in the last 2 games. He's seen a lot of pressure in those games from the Bills and Patriots. He's been sacked, what? What do I have here? 7 times in those 2 games. That means he's getting a lot of pressure and he's still performing well. I like seeing that in quarterbacks. The Eagles, they control time of possession in their games, but guess what? The Seahawks' rush defense is really strong, and I think they're going to be able to run away with this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with the Seahawks. Just to me, seems like the start of one of these traditional late-season runs for Seattle. 16-4 from weeks 11 through 17 over the last 3 seasons, and in that span, 17-3 against the spread. So they're a good bet late in the year, no matter how you slice it. Russell Wilson, as you mentioned, looks like he's back. Thomas Rose, your boy, coming back this week, so that should help out the running game. And really, a big part of this for me boils down to the Eagles got a little Jekyll and Hyde act going in terms of when they're at home and on the road. They're undefeated at home, completely different team on the road.
Yeah.
Some bad losses there. Obviously, traveling to Seattle this week, and like I said, Seattle just kind of they strike me as just everything's kind of firing on all cylinders, and a lot of that, like you said, goes back to Russell Wilson's health. So, yeah, I like the Seahawks this week. 4.5-point favorites they're opening up as. I think they'll cover.
Mike, what's your thoughts on this game?
I don't think there's enough money in the world that I wouldn't bet on Seattle winning this game and covering. I think the Seahawks, this actually has the potential to be a blowout. I think Seattle, you look at the defense and what they did Sunday night going on the road to New England. I mean, when they're healthy and now that they've got Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor in the back, and Sherman is maybe not the player he was a few years ago, but he's still really good. And you look at how that matches up against Philly, who really doesn't have anything in terms of offensive weapons. You look at the fact that Philly continues to try to throw up those quick short passes. I think Seattle gets all physical, roughs them up, and kind of takes that away. I don't know how Philly's going to score in this game. And I think, like you said, Andre, Russell Wilson's rolling right now, so I think that this has got all the hallmarks of just a a real nice statement win to kind of stay hot for Seattle after a nice win last week, obviously.
Yeah, that was probably the most impressive win in the NFL so far this season. Going on the road, short rest against the Patriots team coming off a bye at New England. That was extremely impressive.
I didn't even think it was that close either. I mean, the score was close, but it's just it felt like Seattle kind of did what it wanted on both sides of the ball all night. You know,
it was a weird game. I mean, the Patriots come out, score on that first drive. Kind of feel like, all right, maybe this is kind of what you feared if you're Seattle traveling cross country in the short week. Kind of get in there and get mollywopped. And then all of a sudden, it felt like the Patriots got very conservative in that game. And, I don't know, whatever. It's a testament to that,
yeah,
I guess.
It was really, like, I can't remember the last time the Patriots looked that overall sloppy from, outside that first drive until, even that final drive was a mess once they got down in the goal line. So, weird game.
Out of sorts. Speaking of sloppy, we'll flash forward now to Sunday night where, Mike, your Packers traveling to the nation's capital to face the Washington Redskins, who are 3-point favorites opening up as. I'm anxious to see what you think about this Packers team right now. We kind of feel like we flip-flop them then week to week. Sometimes we come in here and think that maybe they're starting to figure things out. But I'm just coming to the realization right now that Green Bay's just not very good. They're just not a very good football team. And I'm done putting blind faith in Aaron Rodgers' ability to compensate for the rest of the team's incompetence. I feel like week to week, I've been led to believe that all of a sudden Rodgers is going to play out of his mind. He'd come out as this man like possessed. I thought that was going to be the case after the loss to Atlanta. Didn't happen. Thought it again after the loss to Indianapolis. Didn't happen. So I'm just done with it. I'm just not doing it. So I'm going with the Redskins this week. I acknowledge the fact that it's very rare for the Packers to lose 4 in a row, especially with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. I mean, I don't think it's happened since his first year as a starter in 2008. But there's just too many issues across the board for me to take the Packers at this point.
Yeah, you know what, Ricky? I'm going to agree with you. I love Washington's offensive line. I like what they've done. It's not just about the Packers. Even the Packers were a decent team right now, and I think they're going to bounce back after that loss. You just have to, right? I mean,
the division's a mess. So
yeah, they're going to bounce back, but I still like the Redskins' offensive line. They're top 5 in pass protection and run blocking, according to Football Outsiders. Kirk Cousins was protected very well against a very ferocious Vikings pass rush, and he was able to do enough to get into field goal range in the second half, and the Redskins got 4 consecutive field goals, and they were able to come back and beat the Vikings. And I think those field goals are going to be touchdowns against the Packers defense. And plus, the Redskins defense can bring some pressure. They have 25 sacks, so I think this is going to be one of those games where Aaron Rodgers is running around all day. And so I think the Redskins they end up winning this one, and the Packers are just Mike McCarthy. Mike, please start ranting about Mike McCarthy.
I'd like to. It's just I'm tired and sick of it. It's just Mike McCarthy has beat me down. Just 2 weeks in a row. Utterly unacceptable starts to football games. And, giving up a 100-yard kickoff return 2 weeks ago to Indianapolis looked bad. And they came out and looked like 5 times worse by going down 21-0 in a matter of about 5 minutes to Tennessee. I mean, the fact that they've lost the 2 AFC South teams 2 weeks in a row kind of tells you where they're at right now. There are 24 teams in the NFL right now with a better yards per play differential than the Packers. They're just not very good. It just is what it is at this point. Injuries have taken a toll too, but I think more of it, most of it comes down to just I don't know, an unexcusable lack of preparation, or just an unexcusable lack of execution, or maybe a combination of both. I do think it starts with the head coach. I think it's one of those things where it's probably run its course there. I would be shocked if anybody else is, or if Mike McCarthy's on the sideline when the season starts next year. I don't think they're going to fire him in season because I just don't think that's what the Packers do, especially with the lack of an actual owner. But yeah, I'm with you guys. This doesn't seem like a good matchup for the Packers. This is not certainly not where you want to be after when you're licking your wounds, is having to go into Washington. Face the Redskins team was pretty good with some big play potential, and you guys know I love the revenge factor. I would imagine the Redskins would love nothing more than burying the Packers after the Packers eliminated them from the playoffs last season. So I think the Redskins, they should smell blood here, and I think they take care of business.
Yeah, I completely forgot about their playoff meeting last year. So, another sweep, and I think this next game will be a trifecta sweep.
Yeah.
We're in agreement with everything, it seems like, this week.
Yeah. We'll go from the nation's capital to south of the border.
Yeah, it's their nation's capitals, too.
We're going to leave the country entirely and go right to Mexico City for a Monday night game.
Yeah, we're going to cue the mariachi music.
Yeah,
I know we only do it for show and tell, but we got to do it right here.
It's a great time to do it. No time like the present. Houston Texans facing the Oakland Raiders, who opened up as 3.5-point favorites. The Raiders among the, three really good teams in that AFC West. I know we sat here kind of gushed over that AFC West.
I gushed over the
time
AFC
and time
West
again.
all
It's
the
just
time.
a very good division. So Mike, why don't you start us off with this one, because it's in Mexico City. You're traveling right now, so it's the whole nomad culture that we got going on here.
How about the schedule makers kind of putting the Mexico City game the week after the election, and now you got it's a good thing we're getting this one in before the wall is built, I guess. If this game was played in Oakland, I'd be all over the Raiders, but I'm actually going to take the Texans here. I'm taking the points.
Wow.
I'm big in the the yards per play differential, and the ratio in my little formula. I think that this game actually kind of matches up a little bit closer than people realize, or at least are giving credit for. I also kind of look at the fact that you're playing this game in Mexico City, where the elevation is more than 7,000 feet. It's obviously higher than Denver. I wonder how that kind of takes its toll on both teams. I think just that's an unfamiliar position to be in for both teams. I think that's kind of wreaks havoc with both squads and kind of keeps it a little bit closer. So I still think Oakland wins this game, but I think by field goal.
Well, that might actually help Brock Osweiler because he played in Denver last year. So
I mean, he'll take all the help he can get at this point.
Looked at the geography factor. I did not know that Mexico City was that high.
Yeah, they can play this game on Pluto. I'm still taking the Raiders. It boils down to the Texans just can't be good teams. They just, I don't think any team in the NFL really benefits more from playing within a crap division than probably they do.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they're 6-3 right now.
The Titans are coming.
Just talking about benefiting from a soft schedule. Just look at them, and you look at their 3 losses to the Patriots, Vikings, and Broncos. I scored 85-24 in those games. If basic math serves me right here, I think they will score 13 touchdowns in 9 games this year. So I just look at that, and for me, it's just I don't see Houston being able to keep up with Oakland. That obviously that Raiders offense has been rolling a tide, and that defense has been steadily improving.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack is, looking now like the superstar that we know him to be. And Houston stinks against the run. And guess what? The Raiders are coming off their last game, just jamming it down the Broncos' throats. I think everything just points to the Raiders.
And you know why they jam it down other teams' throats? Because they got an incredible offensive line led by Kelechi Osemele and my boy Donald Penn. Donnie Penn, yeah. The Raiders' offensive line, not just good in the run attack, but they also help protect Derek Carr, who's only been sacked 11 times this year, fewest in the NFL. Texans pass rush, not the same without J.J. Watt in the lineup. Last year they had a 7.5% sack percentage. That was 3rd best in the league. This year that's just at 6.1%, 15th best. So you can tell how different their pass rush is without him. So I think that'll be a huge factor. And yeah, I'll take the Raiders. Now let's move on to locks and upsets.
Who would you like to start with? Mike, what do you want to start with? Locks or upsets?
Let's start with lock.
All right. Andre, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I'll okay. He decides and I start.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just equal opportunities around here.
Locks, I'm going to go with my weekly lock. It's turning into my weekly lock because unless it's not one of the 3 games, they're going to be my lock because they're easily the best team in football right now. The Dallas Cowboys, 7-point favorites over the Baltimore Ravens. Give it to me. Give it to Zach. Give it to Zeke. Give it to Dez. They're the best. Let me tell you, Ravens' rush defense is going to provide a huge test for Ezekiel Elliott this week. They only allowed 3.3 yards per carry. But guess what? You know who else had a great rush defense, and I was supposed to be scared of them? The Green Bay Packers. Yeah. And Ezekiel Elliott ran all over them. In this game, I believe Ezekiel Elliott will do the same. I don't see anybody on that Ravens defense that's going to be able to get past that impenetrable Dallas offensive line. So, and plus, nothing the Ravens have done this season has impressed me. 3 of their 5 wins have come against Cleveland and Jacksonville. So that's all you need to know about the Ravens' wins. They might be the worst. They are the worst first-place team in the NFL right now. They're just
defense.
Their defense is nice.
Down on it a little bit. Sneaky good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. When you go up against Jacksonville.
I'm just saying. I mean, I tend to agree with it.
I'm gonna get to this later, but that win against the Browns, what was that? It's like the Browns handed that win to them when they took Cody Kessler out. Yeah. We'll get to that.
The world would be a better place if we didn't have to watch games like that anymore.
Yeah.
For my lock, I'm gonna go with a nice little pick'em here. I'm gonna take the Cardinals over the Vikings. Last week I took the Vikings on the premise that they just couldn't lose 4 games in a row. That came back to bite me in the keister. And I'm not going to do it this week because you know what? The Vikings they're another team. I'm just coming to the realization they're not very good. You could argue that they have the worst offense in football. Yardage-wise, they do. 302.3 yards per game. Just talk about the Texans were offensively. I think the Vikings are worse than them offensively or right in that same ballpark. On the flip side, Cardinals, I don't like the Cardinals very much. What I've seen from this year, they were my preseason pick to win the Super Bowl, so I got to stick with them a little bit. But for the most part, they've been pretty underwhelming, squeaking by the 49ers after getting walled by the Panthers in Week 9. But they are tops in the NFL in opponent yards per play, so that bodes well going up against a struggling offense in the Vikings. I don't see how the Vikings keep up. I mean, the Cardinals, for all their flaws, they do have the talent. They got weapons. And a pick 'em? Yeah, sure.
That's an interesting pick. I haven't dug too much into that game, but I think this is the game. Vikings at home against Cardinals team that can be really flat offensively sometimes. I don't know, mate. I don't know. But I like your pick. Mike Cole.
Yeah, I'll take the Bengals, whatever the spread is 3 points, over the Buffalo Bills. Rex Ryan, in his career against the spread after a bye, 2-5. That's not very good. I just like, the Bengals, even though on a short week, I think they got screwed on Monday night. I think they're in a spot where that division's still wide open, especially with how poorly the Steelers are playing. So I think the Bengals is a nice get-right position for them, and 3 points isn't overly concerning. So I think they find a way to take care of business against the Bills. All right.
Upset-wise, I don't really know why I'm taking this one, but I'm going to roll with it anyways.
Oh, wow.
I think the Bears over the Giants. And
love the boldness of it.
Yeah, and this is...
I like it.
Throwing a lot of things out the window because the Bears aren't in a good spot right now. I think we can all agree on that. A number of issues on the field, off the field. It's just it's unraveling rather quickly. But I'm also not sold on the Giants too much either. I mean, they have 3 wins by 3 points or less this season after having 2 such wins in the previous 4 seasons combined. Just a weird fact I figured I'd throw out there for people that are into that type of thing. And you look at we toss around yards per play a little bit on this program, and these teams are pretty comparable in that area. So that gives me something else to hang my hat on. But mostly it's just it's kind of a hunch. I don't know.
I could see them covering that game. I don't know if they'll win.
Yeah, well, sometimes you gotta
roll the dice I like it.
On a limb. And
I like Jay Cutler.
You said you loved them last week.
Yeah.
You downgraded.
I don't know why I picked them last week.
You have just a strong affection for him?
I love Jay Cutler. I still love him. I'm going to go for my upset. I like the Titans over the Colts. They're 3-point underdogs. They're easily going to win that game. The Titans have 28 sacks this season. It's 4th in the NFL. Going up against the Colts offensive line that's allowed 33 sacks. Andrew Luck it looks like he's running around everywhere every week. He's going to be in a body bag soon. He might have a Andrew Luck funeral very shortly. And it might be this week when the Tennessee Titans go up against him.
So scatter the ashes.
Scatter
them up and bring the urn in.
And I love what I've seen from Marcus Mariota, too. I think the Titans are now the favorite to win the AFC South. And I think they're going to go on a little bit of a roll. Love what they did against the Packers. They made a couple mistakes against the Chargers. But they won 4 of their last 6 games now. And I think they're going to make it 5 of their last 7. Michael, upset.
This is tough. Not a whole lot of options. I toyed with the idea. I do think that Ravens-Cowboys game can be a lot closer than you think, Andre. I like that the Ravens don't give up a lot of big rushing plays. I think that could be big, but I'm not confident enough to make that my lock. Instead, I'm going to take the Saints over the Panthers. I know we usually stay away from Thursday night games if possible, but I just like that Saints team better than the Panthers. I think that's the Saints have a lot more to play for, I still think. I mean, sure, Carolina is technically not dead, but I'm still not sold on them. Like, I just still don't see it. So I think that the Saints, Drew Brees comes out with a nice marquee game, and I think that New Orleans finds a way to get out of there on Thursday night with a win. If not, whatever.
I think that's going to be a coming out party for Cam because last time these two teams played, the Saints didn't put any pressure on Cam, and he put up 38 points. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm
I
on
mean, after-
vacation, so I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, maybe.
I mean, the way those two teams lost this past week, they might as well just meet up and share horror stories and sit around and sulk.
Scatter the ashes.
Yeah, a lot of ash scattering. All right, let's move it on to the what
Props.
What did the comment to say? What was his description one time of this? I forget what he called it. Some crazy bets or something. It wasn't crazy, but it was another adjective that basically meant crazy.
Wild.
Well, all right, whatever. It wasn't that, but
What are you
this is
talking
where we
about?
go out on a limb and we do some parlays, some props, whatever. Andrew, do you wanna start? with
It
this?
seems like you're prepared.
Okay, well, I'll start with the. I always do my locks, so I get
Yes.
the Cardinals over the Vikings. I also like the Steelers 8.5-point favorites over the Browns. I could just completely see this being a game in which the Steelers come back after that tough loss against Dallas and just toss up about 40 points on the Browns.
Yeah.
Because really, that's a pretty reasonable accomplishment for anybody nowadays, but especially the Steelers, who Roethlisberger will be another week back from the injury, so you got to think they'll only get better as the season goes on. At least that's what I like to believe. And then I'm also going to take under 40.5 for the Dolphins and the Rams. Because basically, for the Rams, they've gone under that number in their previous 3 games, have held their opponents to an average of just 12 points per game over the past 3 weeks. Basically, they can't score, and they hold the opposition to a low point total. So I feel like the under in the Rams is a pretty good bet from here on out.
Right.
And you really don't know what you're going to get now with rookie quarterback Jared Goff finally getting the call. That could go one of two ways. It could come in, light it up, or he could also just,
Well, I think he'll light it up. I think he's angry.
Maybe he is. Or he could trip over his shoelaces.
He could,
Either
yeah.
way, it's unpredictable. Dolphins defense is playing pretty well. I know you're buying into the Dolphins, Andre.
Ajayi!
So, I don't know. I just see this being a low score, little slugfest here that the Dolphins ultimately pull out. I believe that game's a pick 'em as well, but I like the Dolphins and I like the under in that game.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to go with a 4-team teaser with huge spreads here. Jacksonville plus 13.5 versus Detroit. Detroit, all of their games this year have been decided by 7 points or less, so I think the Jaguars cover that. I like Dallas plus 13 against Baltimore. Sorry, Dallas -1 versus Baltimore. I think they're going to just straight out win that game. I like New England -8 versus San Francisco. I think that's going to be a blowout. And the other one that I like is Pittsburgh -3 against Cleveland. These are all games that I think are going to be blowouts because they're really good teams playing really bad teams, with the exception of the Jacksonville-Detroit thing. I'm just going based on the factor that Detroit plays close games. So those 4 teams, I like it.
Okay.
Michael?
Good one. I like that. But I'm going to go with just a 2-event parlay or whatever you want to call it. I am also on that LA-Miami under, as was Ricky. And I'm also hammering, I like this one a lot more than the under, but I'm making it good by putting in the parlay. I like Tennessee-Indy over 52.5. Andre, you kind of talked about the issues that the Colts are having and how good Tennessee's been. I think Tennessee, has an outside shot, maybe, of even getting that by themselves. In the last 6 games, they're averaging 34 points per game, just about. That's not really a small sample size at this point. They've kind of found a pretty good rhythm with Terry Robisky, offensive coordinator. Mariota's kind of gaining a little bit more rapport with that, with his receivers, and Delaney Walker is like one of the most underrated players in football. So I think it's a high scoring affair. So I like that over, and then the LA-Miami under for the reasons Ricky laid out already.
I didn't realize that about the Titans. 35 points, that's remarkable.
It's ridiculous. I mean, sure, like 85 of those are against the Packers, but
No, that's so
We got to
remarkable.
give some credit where credit is due,
Yeah,
too.
6 games is a large
Is
sample.
where, Mike, you were all over that. You were all over the Titans a few weeks ago.
I know. Yeah.
And we sat there and we laughed at you, Mike.
So,
But here you are, correct.
And now you got you kick your
That's what-
feet
yeah.
up in Nashville, and you can just
Sipping on some margaritas.
and just sit there and ridicule us. But that brings us to the most eventful part of the evening, the morning, afternoon, whenever you're consuming this, really.
Whichever time zone you're on.
Props.
Yeah.
Props, not
show
prop
and tell.
bets, props. Show
All right,
and tell.
can I start on this? Because I've
I
been very
would love-
fired up
yeah,
about
you-
it. The second it happened on Thursday, I was like, I can't.
Came waltzing in here like Vince McMahon
All right.
with your props, so I'm dying to see
So
what it is.
this is a poop emoji hat that I'm going to put on my head right now. So I'm a poop head right now. You know who else is a poop head?
Who's that?
Hugh Jackson. Why did it? Okay, halftime against the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night. The Browns were winning 7-6. Cody Kessler's doing a good job. Throwing up, he's controlling the offense.
Right.
It seems like he's doing a good job. A couple of weeks before that, Hugh Jackson had come out and said, we're going to start Kessler for the rest of the season. We want to evaluate him. So what does Hugh Jackson do in the third quarter? No injury to Kessler. He takes him out, brings in Josh McCown in, and the Ravens end up winning 28-7. You wonder why the Browns are 0-10? That's why they're 0-10, ladies and gentlemen.
It probably doesn't matter, but I would have fired his right after that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, between that and the whole
it made no
timeout
sense.
thing, before there was even a play in regulation, calling a timeout, like that's just a total lack of anything, wherewithal.
I thought he was a good
Awareness.
coach. I thought he was going to be good. I thought the Browns were going to win 5 games this year at least. Show some progress, but they have not handled this Cody Kessler situation well at all. He's a good quarterback. Let the guy play. He's winning against the Ravens, a good defense.
Yeah.
Why are you taking him out?
That makes zero sense to me as well. I'm gonna stick up the using a prop in my facial region here and go with the old broom mustache in honor of Andy Reid and the work that the Chiefs are doing right now. Am I alone in thinking that the Chiefs have been kind of underrated this year? I mean, everybody wanted to talk about them down the stretch last year when they won 10 in a row. Now it's continuing this year, 7-2, so they're 17-2 in their last 19 regular season games. Granted, it didn't bode well for them in the playoffs last year, but I'm going to hold the mustache up this as long as I can go here. And that's 3 more than the next highest win total in that span of the Patriots and the Seahawks. This is a good football team. I said earlier, I think 3 teams are coming out of that AFC West. The Chiefs have the best chance right now to win the division, according to some ESPN Football Power Index. They got like a 44% chance, or something like that. But long story short, they're making the playoffs, and I just feel like they're not getting as much recognition as the Broncos for that defense, the Raiders for that offense.
All of that
Chiefs are pretty legit.
All of that without Justin Houston, who
Exactly.
has a good
It's
chance to
time
play this week against.
It's time to stand up and
Tampa
realize
Bay.
how good the Chiefs team is. And you know what I like most about them is just they win the turnover battle.
Yes,
Best in the
number
NFL.
1. Yeah.
That's huge for me. So I just wanted to give it out to the Chiefs who are run by
Andy Reid is not a poop head.
Andy Reid.
Mike Cole, what do you have in your hotel room?
I'm sitting here looking at through some back channels via sources. I have acquired Mike McCarthy's resume, of which I'm going to help him update. I'm also going to send him this list of websites: careerbuilder.com, Monster.com, Indeed, footballcoachingjobs.com. I'm going to send it over to Mike McCarthy right as soon as I get off the phone here because he's going to need it. He's out of a job before too long. So, good riddance.
Footballcoachingjobs.com does not exist.
No, it
Good
does
time to jump
not.
on that domain name.
Yeah.
They can sponsor.
All right. This was fun, guys. Long distance, but we were able to do it. That just shows how far modern technology has come over the years. And
Welcome to 2016.
yeah, we can conference call in Mike Cole from Nashville and still do the pick spot. Next week you're gone.
Yep. So I'll be calling in next week.
You'll be calling in next. Where are you gonna be?
Just out and about. You never know.
We'll find. All right, but thank you everybody for watching. For Mike Cole in Nashville, for Ricky Doyle, who still hasn't taken off his broom mustache, and for some reason I haven't reacted to it. I'm acting like it's really normal that he has a broom on his upper lip right now. But yeah, this was another exciting episode of The Spread. Join us again next week. We'll have a special Thanksgiving Turkey Day edition. Oh, he just shaved it off. All right, yeah. Hey.